My name is Barbara Osborne Kreamer. I live on Beards Hill Road in the 700 block. And I'd like to speak to you about this proposed budget because I think that you have a great deal of room to reduce the tax rate by more than the proposed 2 cents. We are not competitive with our neighboring municipalities. Our tax rate is 13 cents more than Havre De Grace and 18 cents more than Bel Air. And we are losing as a result of that. We missed the boat with the BRAC influx. They're building a big highway so that people can get through Aberdeen and out. Whereas we have room, we have the facilities, we have a nice community. People should be coming out of the proving ground and wanting to get home here. But the differential in our tax rate has discouraged those people from moving here. We got a few people, but we didn't get an appropriate share. And I think the high tax rate is part of the problem. It's probably the biggest part of the problem. Sometimes I think the people of Aberdeen are like snails. We have a big shell that we're carrying around, and that shell is overblown municipal expenses. And I have not done a thorough review of the budget, but as I look at the budget, I see that there's some underestimates. For one thing, on penalties and interest on page 3, there's an estimate of, in the upcoming year, to be about 40,000 as opposed to 388,000 pretty consistently over the past 3 years. So that seems to be an underestimation by 300,000 at least of penalties and interest and income. So that would be about 3 cents on the tax rate. On page 4, hotel tax. This budget does not show that there was no hotel tax before, only in the sense that it does show that there was blank, blank, blank for the previous 3 fiscal years, but it doesn't indicate in the percent of change that this is a significant percent of change from the previous years. There was no category of hotel tax before, and now you anticipate 445,000. I think that's a pretty light anticipation, but that in itself would be about 4.5 cents on the tax rate. In addition, in miscellaneous income from fines, you anticipate that there won't be any income from fines in the upcoming year, and yet there have been consistently $20,000 over the past 3 years in income from fines. That combined with miscellaneous income, which is anticipated for the coming year to be only $4,000, whereas it's consistently been more than $20,000 in the past 3 years. So if a realistic projection were made, those 2 categories of miscellany would come up with another half cent. Police miscellaneous income on page 4 seems to be underestimated at $2,000 when it's been $20,000 to $26,000 in the previous few years. So those tens and twenties of thousands of dollars add up. And I've heard Mr. Mayor refer to this town as growing, but I see vacant houses. I don't see growth. And we've been living through a period of the last couple of years where we ought to be having quite a bit of growth in Aberdeen. So please take a much more careful look at this budget. We have borne, as taxpayers in Aberdeen, we've borne a very heavy burden of expense for the stadium. We have a very heavy burden in law enforcement. And we are one of the most highly taxed municipalities in the state of Maryland. In the central Maryland region, we're just about the highest other than the city of Baltimore. In addition, from the scheduling that it's done for the meetings of the City Council, it seems that there is an intentional limiting of opportunities for citizens to make comments about these things. For 3 years, I've been in class at my church on Monday nights. It's been difficult for me to come, and in fact, I'm missing my class tonight so that I can come because I thought it would be unfair to criticize you later if I didn't come tonight and tell you I really, really object to this tax rate of 66 cents. So I did come tonight, and I'm missing my class, but I think that the fact that you have changed the way that the meetings are set up so that there's only one public hearing a month, that's not right. That's not being appropriately accountable to the citizens of Aberdeen. And I would call on you to change the schedule so that you have 3 meetings a month in which the citizens can, at times that are convenient for most people, an evening hour, be able to come forward and make comments. So I think that we are too highly taxed. We have been for a decade. It's cost us in terms of our competition for growth in the county, but also for the region of Central Maryland. And I urge you to cut this tax rate down in the low 50s for the upcoming budget. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.